What's up, guys? My name is Danny. Welcome to Satoshi Finance and Capital. And today we're going to talk about Bitcoin and the long-term price action analysis on the horizon that I think is going to happen. And just a quick reminder: I don't trade Bitcoin. I'm a long-term believer. I hodl. I stack sats and I dollar cost average. In my opinion, that's the best way to invest in this asset class. However, I am an intraday trader, a full-time trader. That's my bread and butter. I trade the stock market as well as the forex market, and I do like to use technical analysis in order to basically gauge the sentiment of buyers and sellers, and just for fun, just to see where the price might be headed. So let's dive right into it. So we got the BLX chart here. We got the Brave New Coin Liquid Index for Bitcoin. This is the longest lasting chart that anybody could find. I mean, no other chart can take the price all the way back to 2010. So this is the longest lasting one. If you look at its price action on a logarithmic chart, I mean, you can see a very equal and pretty much a very repeatable pattern throughout every single cycle. So now, what does the vertical line represent? That's the halving. So we have had 3 halvings so far ever since Bitcoin's conception. What is the halving? That's going to be another video, but basically all you got to know is it cuts the supply in half. So it gives Bitcoin a very strong supply shock, and if the supply get cuts in half, as long as the demand remains the same, price will go up. That's just basic economics. So if you look at the first halving, I just want to show you guys the way that every cycle has been ever since 2008. So we got the bull market, the bull rally, price go all the way up into $33, approximately $33, and then that's when the bear market begins and it crashed all the way down to about $2. So we fell, let's see, 93% from the top. Now that's a painful drop. A lot of people would have gotten out around somewhere around here or down here, or maybe they got lucky, they got out at the top. There's not many people that can hold on and just continue to have faith in Bitcoin after a 95% drop. So as we all know, Bitcoin has a lot of volatility, and it goes up fast, and it also crashed very hard, but it always bounced back a lot stronger than it ever has been. So price found the bottom at $2, eventually finally making its way back, and that's when the first halving occurred, and that's when the new bull market started to kick in. Now if you look, it took Bitcoin, 112 days after the halving just to break above its previous all-time high. So, a lot of people expect stuff to happen right away after the halving, but that's just not how it works, guys. I mean, the miners have to shut off the machine slowly, which is going to reduce the sell pressure onto the market, and it takes time. Nothing happens right away, and especially the halving. A lot of people think that, the halving just happened, how come the price not going up just yet? And to me, that's a very inexperienced way to look at the market, especially something like Bitcoin. So price broke above the previous all-time high and just started going up until it reached a new top. Now, if you take the measurement from the previous all-time high and you measure it all the way to the next all-time high, Bitcoin basically went up about 37,000%, which is 36x from the previous all-time high. So it went from $32 all the way to $1,200. And that's a big increase. And then price finally started dying off again, started dropping, and the bear market eventually kicked back into effect. Bitcoin dropped from $1,200 all the way down to about $191. Once again, that's going to shake out a lot of weekends. A lot of people is going to capitulate, and the cycle repeats again. And then price started finding a bottom, started leveling off, started finding stability down here. Eventually, started creeping back up again, and this is when the next halving happened. And as we all know, the halving is going to kickstart a brand new bull market, a new rally. So price started creeping right back up, and then eventually break through the previous all-time high and make new high. Now if you look, like I said, from here to here, it took about 112 days for Bitcoin to finally break through its previous all-time high after the first halving. After the second halving, however, it took a little bit longer. So now it's 287 days, which is, I say, about 10 months, give or take. And then once price broke above that all-time high, we just started rallying and just went straight into the stratosphere. And from here, from the previous all-time high to the new all-time high, we have, let's see, hold on 1 second. Right there. About a 1600% increase, which, give or take about 14x. I wrote 14x here, but it's about 16x. So the first 1 second. The first cycle we got 36x. The second cycle we got 16x. Well, because as the market cap increases, it's going to take a lot more money to move the price. So as we can clearly see from this chart alone, it basically only did about half multiple of the previous all-time high, from 36 to about 16. So still a huge increase. I mean, still the best performing asset of any kind out there. Stocks, gold, commodities, nothing can even come close to it. So then price began to retrace from the 20,000 level all the way down to the 3,200 level. And that was when I entered the market. I entered the Bitcoin market. I started investing around the end of the bull market of 2017. So I pretty much held through the entire cycle, bulls and bears. So I kind of know what it's like, to be in that position of watching your portfolio just go down and just keep buying a dip, even though the dip just keeps happening. You buy the dip and then another dip happened. And but that was before I started knowing how to read charts and understand technical analysis. I didn't know how to look at this overall price action to predict the market. And I'm glad I didn't, because really nobody can predict the market, guys. Nobody can guess the top or the bottom of the market, no matter how good they say they are at technical analysis. It's just not something that we aim to do. We aim to use it as a way to guide us and just to basically have a roadmap. But we don't try to claim that we can find the top or the bottom of a rally. That's just not what we do. And anybody that can tell you they can find that with specific details and numbers, they're probably lying to you and trying to scam you. So here we are. We found the bottom of the bear market. We stabilized. We bounced back up. We got knocked back down again. And now, after the halving in May 2020, we are now finally starting to heat up a little bit and starting to find an increase. But just as the previous halving took 10 months before we broke through the previous all-time high, I don't expect the previous all-time high to be broken just yet. However, anything could happen. But I see a lot of people, they always say, oh, the last bull market, Bitcoin went from 14K to 20K within 2 weeks or something like that. And I mean, it's not false. It's true, it did. But you're using different narratives, because from 14K to 20K, that's the end of the bull run. That was the euphoria phase of the last bull market. And right now, we're just at the beginning of the bull run. So we can't really use the same momentum that we used back then in order to overlap and try to say that, oh, this time it's going to take the same amount of time. I think it's going to take longer, realistically. I don't expect it to be broken at least until February, the all-time high, for it to be broken until February, in my opinion, if history repeats itself. However, we'll discuss this later on. There's a lot of different fundamentals and different the macro backdrop is a lot different this time around, and I honestly have never been more bullish on Bitcoin. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, if you look at the technical analysis and the price, I mean, the last time that we had a halving, it took 10 months before we broke the previous all-time high. So I don't expect this to happen sooner, but anything could happen, and maybe it will. But so the reason now it took us to this point here, to where a lot of people I see was criticizing Plan B. His Twitter handle is 100 trillion USD. He had a stock to flow model, which basically measured an asset class based on supply and demand. That's the most simple way to explain his model. And he basically predicted $100,000 by 2021, the end of 2021. And that's a conservative number that he put out. He actually said it might hit $288,000, and a lot of people was giving him shit about it, and they were saying, how could you even say that? That's such a long way to go. But the reason why they say that is because they don't look at the chart from a logarithmic scale. Because if they look at the chart from a logarithmic scale, they can see the kind of momentum that a bull market for Bitcoin can create. As we can see, the numbers don't lie. I mean, we're not being biased. We're not being, just we're looking at the chart and we're looking at the numbers. The numbers go up, right? So 36x for the previous all-time high after the first halving, 16x for the previous all-time high after the second halving. And if you look, this is $100,000 right here. That's what this black dark line is. If you see, if let's see how many multiple that is from the previous all-time high, and we got about 4x, because the previous all-time high was 20. So I'll just say 5x. So you telling me that we can't make a 5x multiple from here, from the previous all-time high? I mean, even if you take into consideration that the first one was 36x, and then we only got half of that the second time, which is 16x. Even if we only get half of that the third time, that's still 8x. So that's going to be at least $160,000 from the 20,000 top from the previous all-time high. So when people ask me what my price prediction is for Bitcoin for this cycle, I don't like to give price prediction, because to me that's kind of cheesy, right? Like you invest in something like Bitcoin for more than just money, guys. Honestly, I got into Bitcoin trying to get rich, and I stayed because I understood the world a lot better. I understood the economy a lot better, and the monetary policy, and I understand that Bitcoin is basically a gift. It really is, and it's going to be so much bigger than that. It's not just a lottery ticket for me. And a lot of people that believe in Bitcoin like I do, a lot of people smarter than me, they feel the same way. So we're not here for the bag. We're not here for that. We're here for the revolution. I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but that's the truth. And so yeah, guys. But if you want to just look at strictly price action and just looking at history and price cycles and technical analysis, and numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie, guys. $100,000 in my opinion is very doable, very doable. And plus, you got to remember, this cycle has a lot of bullish backdrop. We never had a cycle to where the government all around the world, every single government out there is printing trillions and trillions of dollars and injecting it into the economy, trying to stimulate the economy. They're buying back stocks, they're buying back junk bonds, they're printing money for spending program, they're sending out stimulus packages, they're sending out helicopter money. And these are just the things that's going on in the world right now. And we have never had a cycle where we have big institutions like MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor, Square, and as well as, that's just the first of many that's going to come, that's putting their treasury asset and all of their cash balance on their balance sheet into Bitcoin. I mean, MicroStrategy bought $425 million worth of Bitcoin, guys. Do you understand how powerful, how many Bitcoin that is being taken off of circulation? And there's only 21 million max. You cannot make more, you cannot mine more, you cannot create more. I mean, you gotta understand, guys, this rally, the previous halving, that was retail. That was me and you. That was the little guys. We FOMO and we made that happen. And that's just the economics behind it. It's just supply and demand. When something is having a supply shock and the demand remain the same, price goes up. But all of these right here, guys, these are all retails. This is where the nerds and the cypherpunk, these are the early adopters. Many people didn't even know about Bitcoin back then, and we pushed the price all the way back up here. Granted, the market cap was a lot smaller back then, so it was a lot easier to move the price back then. But still, this is retail, guys. This is retail. This is retail, guys. And now we have institutions and retail. I've never been more bullish. So the next time somebody wants to tell you that Bitcoin is a bubble and that it crashed, you show them this video. You show them this chart. Open up the BLX chart, put on a log scale, and just show them. Does that look like a bubble to you? What kind of bubble just keeps popping and keep inflating and popping again and again? It's just the cycle, the market cycle. Every market goes through the same thing, bulls and bear. Stock market, bonds market, everything. We have ups and downs, boom and bust. This is no different. However, this is a very different asset class that we have never seen before. The first absolute scarcity, digital gold. We have never had an asset like this before. And history may not repeat itself, but it usually rhymes. So the next time somebody tells you that, make sure you give them this chart, make sure you show them this video. But yeah, guys, I really think $100,000 by the end of 2021 is possible. And honestly, that's conservative, guys. So this is not financial advice. Do your own research. I'm only speaking my opinion and what I'm doing with my investment and my money. Just just dig deep, guys. You gotta look deeper. You gotta look beyond the surface. And once people get into Bitcoin, once they understand Bitcoin, they understand the world. They understand how the world works. They understand, you know, they open their eyes, pretty much going down the rabbit hole. You get red pill. The matrix is no longer a part of your reality. So that's it, guys. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.